Hey, everybody. Morning. Michelle is here. Ooh, I I mean, when I tell you to stay out of the past, stay out of ruminating in the past, stay out of ruminating in the past. Trust me on that, because you can't get lost in that. Because that's a perfect example. I went looking through my emails because I'm looking for something specific, with some particular type of stuff. But I got so many emails, stuff get lost in all of these emails. So I don't know how people keep up with it. I know there's a way that you can organize it, but for the most part, um, I started looking at some old pictures of myself, and that's when I know um, things were getting better for me because I saw it in my eyes in the pictures. And this was around 2008 ish, around 2008, 2009, around that time. Things started looking up between 2008 and 2010. And then I had a little bit of a setbacks in 2011 and 12, but then I eventually went on up. So you're going to have, my point, you're going to have setbacks too. Even though everything will look good for one moment, you'll think you're on top of the world and then you'll have a setback. And that's life. That's called life, by the way. So be ready for it. And that's why you got to stay neutralized in your highs and lows so that you don't get yourself all worked up when things happen to you. Because as a matter of fact, in 2011, 2012, I had a sociopath, psychopath that was attempting to ruin my life. And sometimes, and like I told you, they'll show up. There's no way that you can avoid meeting sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissists, because they're everywhere. They're in your neighborhood, in your schools, in your jobs, more so in your workplace, in your network of friends, and in a network of friends of friends of friends of friends. When you're in a certain type of network of things like that. So there's no way to avoid them. You just have to know how to handle them. So I handled it properly, but it still was it's still a battle all the time. So it doesn't matter how high or low you are, or how elevated you think you are, or how intelligent you think you are, and how successful you think you are. Somebody can come in and rip that all out of you and snatch the rug right from underneath you. And I think people need to be aware of that and be prepared for that. Because it's just, you just need to be realistic. Because if money has no value, having a lot of it means what? Okay, so you just need to keep that. So make sure you have all the basics. A place to stay, food. Because like I said, if you can have $10 million in the bank, but what if you can't get to that $10 million and your government, or whoever decides, okay, I'm going to freeze that, and you can't get to your money? That happened. Remember, it happened in other countries. I think it was Lebanon. I think it happened in certain parts of the Asian uh, Pacific over there. Over there, and we don't know what's going on over there. All right, so I have no idea if that's true or not. So you just have to know what's valuable and what's not. And so when I was back in that, looking at my pictures and going back in time, looking for stuff in my emails, um, yeah, I saw where I was coming out, so to speak, of certain beliefs which were eliminated around that time. And so you almost feel as though you were like, waking up. And you are, when you get out of beliefs and get out of supernatural, and you get out of these things, you feel like you're opening up, and you can see the reality of your life. But I'm just saying, sometimes, I mean, remember, there is a time limit, a time constraint on stuff. So you just need to get to things and not think that people are going to sit back and wait for you. Wait for you to, you know, because once you're awake, you can't go back to sleep, no matter what these actors and actresses in the political field are telling you. Once you're woke, and you can't pretend that it's not, that you didn't see what you saw. Okay, because that becomes delusion, and over time, it's going to start affecting your judgment and your discernment of things. If you attempt to you know deny certain factors that are going on in life, deny the fact that there are things going on that are out of our control, it's affecting you. But if you want to keep putting your head in the sand and pretend it doesn't exist, that's where the problems come in. And you know, before you know it, you're standing in the middle of a sea of water and you have nowhere to go, or you're standing in the, you're encased in a wall of fire and you can't get out, or you're buried in snow, or you're buried in ash from volcanoes. You just have to be um, awake. And like I said, don't deny that you're awake. Don't deny that you're woke, because because you are. All of us are. Even though, like I said, we're being threatened about um, what we know, being awake and being threatened, and there's fear more. People trying to be fearful and what is happening and this and that and the other. So you know, whatever. Just be clear and effective. That's all. That's the main thing. Be clear and effective, and just keep your thoughts clear, and keep everything realistic and everything like that. And so that's why I feel good about how things are going in my life, because I was visualizing back then, and I remember I used to hang out with some people that were a lot of fun, and we used to have we used to dine outside, and I can remember hearing traffic. So that's how visualization works and can be so powerful if you experienced it before. Okay, if you experienced it before, or had a moment in time that you thought was just fantastic, just visualize it, and and have a powerful picture of it, and then that way you could know, okay, yeah, it's possible, and it definitely is. The only factor that's different for me is a relationship part. Knowing who's my destiny and who is the right person for me and who's aligned with me, blah blah blah. Um, I I saw something back in around 2008, 2009. I saw a face of a person, and I saw some pages and blah 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 in a newsletter, and that captured my attention. Now I had no idea what that meant when I was captured with that attention, but bah. And then I saw that person again in a similar circumstances. So sometimes if it hasn't happened before, and that could be a little tricky as well, to whether it'll work or not, because there's nothing to really have anything to rely on, because visualization is powerful if you can have that event happen before, where you can pull on to that. But if it hasn't happened before, you just got to be a little bit more creative. That's all. But visualization, meditation does work. Trust me. Trust me, it does work. I'm sitting in a home that was a visualization, and here I am sitting in it. So, and I picture myself doing other things, moving on and sitting elsewhere. So it does work. That's my point. It does work. So, yes, beautiful morning. Um, I'm gonna go out and do some walking meditation in a minute once I'm done here. But I just wanted to come through and say good morning, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Know that um, you know your reality requires just the simple things of just being grounded, and make sure whatever you're doing right now makes sense. Because whatever you're doing right now, if it makes sense, it'll make sense in the future as well. So that's why you got to stay. That's why you got to stay now, so that everything does make sense. And that way, when it happens in the future, your future destiny or your future plans or future goals, it all makes sense. It's not fantasy. Okay. It's not fantasy. If I can, like I said, I had a condo. I sat in that condo one day talking with a friend. I said, look, I want this, I want that. And look where I'm sitting. I'm sitting right in it. Now, was it easy? No, it's nothing going to be easy, because I had to put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in it, but it was worth it. It was worth the investment of my time. Right? It was nothing about this particular environment I'm in now that was wasteful, despite everything that I've gone through. Because you're gonna have that too. It was nothing wasteful about it. Nothing. It was worth it for my psyche, my consciousness. Okay, so I want to stop right now because I know I got plenty to talk about. You're not gonna get rid of me that easy. Trust me. So I want to send peace and love to everybody all over the universe, all over the world. And trust me, I'll be back.